Hi Aquarius, welcome to February. This is Teresa from Tarot by T. And this month we have a full moon in Leo in your 7th house of partnership. Mercury moves into your sign on the 12th. The full moon in Leo is on the 5th. We have a new moon in Pisces on the 20th, and the sun moves into Pisces on the 19th, the day before. And Venus moves into Aries, which is favorable to your sign, on the 21st. So let's see what the cards say about love and relationships for Aquarius. What does Aquarius need to know about love and relationships for the month of February 2023? What does Aquarius need to know? What is coming up for Aquarius in 2023 in February in terms of love, relationships, anything else that might be important that Aquarius needs to know? Okay, let's see what we get. The Three of Swords, the Three of Wands, the Star, the Queen of Pentacles, the High Priestess, the Nine of Swords, the Queen of Swords, the Emperor, the Strength card, the Death, and the card at the bottom of the deck is the Temperance. This is interesting. Okay, so the Three of Swords, starting out the reading, you might be feeling some heartbreak. The Three of Swords is heartbreak, cutting out what's no longer serving you. Maybe you've ended a relationship that wasn't working. And I feel like with the Nine of Swords here, you might be feeling like you're mentally stressed. You might be feeling guilt or just worry. But you have the Three of Wands here that's crossing this energy, this Three of Swords. So I feel like if you've broken up with someone, or if you're suffering some type of separation or heartache, I think both people are suffering. It's not just you. And I see two people, so you could have been dealing with an earth sign, even an air sign. But I'm seeing these two queens, and they can represent male, female, whatever. They're facing away from each other. So I feel like you might have had a falling out with someone and you're not speaking. You're just going in different directions. Now the Three of Wands, that's a positive energy, because that means that if you've been working towards something, you might start to see results. So it's possible that things might shift, the energy might shift during February, where you go from being in this heartache state to a different state. You might be getting out more, joining groups, because the three sometimes can represent like teamwork, partnership, where you're working with more than one person. So maybe, you decide to get out with friends and socialize more, and to take your mind off of whatever heartbreak you're feeling, or whatever separation. I really feel though that it's time to, you're cutting out. Like, if you're not cutting out what's no longer serving you, the universe is doing it for you. Now you have the Star here. So I feel like you had a really beautiful connection with someone. The Star gives hope. So I don't know if this separation is permanent, because the Star gives hope. But there are certain things that you need to do. And with the Temperance card here, both of these cards are very spiritual. The Temperance represents the Archangel Michael. The Star is also telling you you're getting spiritual guidance. So it would be a good idea to take some time out to meditate. You've got the High Priestess here, which is about listening to the inner voice, following your divine guidance. Because I feel like there are forces outside of yourself, I don't know if you're in, that are trying to guide you. So you're getting spiritual guidance. You're getting, like, the angels are whispering in your ear. And the Temperance card, so you have the protection of Michael. And he wants to see you achieve your goals, your wishes. He wants to give you a wish fulfillment. But there are certain things that need to happen before that can happen. And with the Star, it usually means that your goal can be achieved. It's just that it's going to take time. It's not going to be an overnight thing. And the Temperance, this is like two people who are very different. And I can see that, with these two energies, the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords, two different energies. Earth and air, they approach life in different ways. The earth is more materialistic, more concerned with financial security. They want to know they're safe. They want to have a home that they can count on, a place to call home. And the air signs are more intellectual. They're not as emotionally, they don't need that emotional connection. They'd rather just be friends with someone and have an intellectual connection, where you talk about different things. So for Aquarius, you don't really do soulmate love that well. You do more, let's be friends, let's be buddies. You're looking for a buddy. And the earth signs want something more permanent. They want commitment, they want marriage, they want to know that you're going to be there when they get home at night, So the Temperance card represents having to compromise, having to see things from the other person's perspective. Because I feel like you're both very compatible, it's just that you have to learn how to meet in the middle and compromise. It can't be all one way or another. You can't go to extremes. You have to find that balance where both people's needs are being met. So I feel like if you wanted to fix this, some of you who have broken up with someone or you're having difficulties, you can fix it. But it's going to involve compromise. Excuse me. My voice is going. I've been talking all day. Compromise and creating win-win situations. So this is an influence that is passing, this Queen of Pentacles. So this could be someone that you're kind of on the outs with. You have the High Priestess here, which is a card of things happening behind the scenes. It could also represent the person that you're connected to, someone who's very spiritual, very intuitive, someone a little bit mysterious, like you really may not even know how they feel about you or where you stand in the relationship. So you may have to have that talk. Sometimes, and you have this Nine of Swords, this is a card of worry. It's a card of mental stress. You can't sleep at night, your mind is racing, it's going, you're thinking of all these things that possibly could happen. Worst case scenarios. A lot of times the Nine of Swords energy, what you're imagining is worse than what's really going to happen. Like a lot of the fears that you have or a lot of the worries may not even happen, but you're bringing up all these worst case scenarios. So I feel that it would be good to, if you can, reach out and have a conversation with someone. Don't let your imagination fill in the blanks. That's all I'm saying. Don't worry about stuff that may not happen because it may be worse. It may be better than you think. Queen of Swords energy. This could be your energy. You're giving off this vibe to people of stay away. Emotional unavailability. So that may have to change. Maybe you've been hurt in the past and you've been through a lot in relationships and you're just being cautious. You don't want to feel any more pain. You could be still being affected by a past relationship that ended badly. Because you're giving the vibe, the Queen of Swords as a personality, as an energy. She's been hurt and she has learned to build a wall around herself, not to let anyone in, to protect herself from being hurt again. So if that speaks to you, you may have to drop that guard a little bit and let someone get close and be more vulnerable. Let someone know how you feel. You have the Emperor here in your environment. This could be a person that could be good for you. The Emperor represents stability. It represents someone who's very organized. It could be a boss figure or a father figure. Someone who knows how to get things done. So you could be if this represents your partner, you could be connecting with someone who is very stable. And when they say they're going to do something, they do it. So maybe in the past you had a relationship that just broke your heart. But now I feel like you could connect with someone that can bring you stability, that can bring you, order in your life. And maybe it's also you that needs to adopt the energy of the Emperor. Be the boss of your own life. Be the CEO of your own life. If you're not happy with the way things are going in your relationship, maybe you need to take action, take charge. What can I do? I know what I can't do. I can't control other people, but I know what I can do. For me, I can take action. And one of those things, here's the Strength card. This is what's standing in the way of your wishes, or what's going to help you achieve your goal. The Strength is about learning self-control. The Lion on this card, you're dealing with like a wild side within yourself that you need to restrain, that you need to suppress, or not suppress, but like get control. If you let your your animal instincts get the better of you, then you're like out of control. You're letting your passions rule you, your anger, your emotions. You go into extremes of emotion, and that's going to ruin your relationship. It's a psychological thing where you might need to talk to a counselor to get at, to deal with your anger, to deal with what is it, why am I overreactive to things? Why do I lash out at people when I can't get my way? Why do I have a major temper tantrum? You could be dealing with either that within yourself or within a partner, where someone is having problems getting their needs met without getting really angry, without having, a major come apart. So it's telling you to learn how to not to react when people push your buttons, not to fly off the handle, but learn to be calmer, tame that wild beast that we all have. We all have this shadow, and we have to learn how to deal with that and restrain it, rein it in. Because if we let it go loose, it's like letting a lion out of a cage. It's going to cause destruction. So counseling could help in a relationship that's on a shaky grounds. And it'll help you to manage your emotions better and get a grip and not go to extremes of emotion. Highs, lows, where you're sad, you're ecstatic one day and you're sad the next day, or you're angry one day and then you're not. You may have some issues around emotions and self-control and anger that need to be looked at, that need to be dealt with. And it could revolve around a father figure from childhood. Maybe that's part of the problem that you need to look at. The outcome is the Death card. Now, the Death is not a negative card in a sense that no one's dying, okay? But what the Death means is that you're on the edge of major transformation. So you have to die to the past. You have to realize that a cycle of life, or a certain type of behavior, has to stop. Like if you've been doing the same things over and over, that old saying, if people who keep doing the same things and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity, right? So if you want a different outcome in your relationships, if you've been going through relationships and they always end in the same way, the Death is telling you something has to change. You have to release the past. You have to release past behavior. You have to put an end, clear out the past so that you can let the new energy in, so that you can transform. So sometimes the Death can mean the death of a relationship. A cycle is ending. Something that was once good is no longer there, and you have to release it, bless it, and then start over. Other times it can mean a death within yourself. Like, I want to be a different person. I want to transform. I want to change. I don't want to keep repeating these heartaches. Like, I don't want to keep having relationships that end because of something that maybe I don't even see within myself. So the Death can represent a positive thing if you're willing to work on the shadow. If you're willing to work on what it is that's keeping you, that's creating problems in relationships. You can't control the other person, but you can control your part. And you can't blame the other person because it takes two to tango. So you have to take responsibility for your part in the scenario. So, okay, that person did this, but then I also did that. So as soon as you can recognize your role, and when you change your behavior and you change your attitude, everything else around you changes, because everything that we are existing in is a projection of our internal state. Your outside reality, you cannot control it from the outside. You have to control it from the inside. And that's what these cards are trying to tell you. Take time out, the High Priestess. Listen to that inner voice. Evaluate. Think about, everything. And what do I need to release? What do I need to cut out of my life? And it doesn't have to be a person. It could even be a behavior or an attitude or a thought or a belief. But what do I need to remove that's stopping me, that's blocking me from having a relationship or even anything successful in my life? How am I self-sabotaging? And if you can do that and then shift your behavior and shift your viewpoint to a more positive one, you can create this star experience. You can create a new beginning where you're actually connecting on a closer level, on a more successful level with someone. You could have this wish fulfillment. The star is like a dream come true. It's like you're wishing on a star. And it's possible. I feel like that's possible. But you have to get to the star, you have to cut away all this stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. Stuff maybe repeating, stuff that you've probably been doing since childhood. You know how we get into patterns of behavior, patterns of thinking and belief systems. What do we believe about ourselves? Like maybe I'm not lovable, or maybe no one would want me. Those kind of things. You have to kick that, get rid of that, get rid of those negative self-talk. The gremlins that live in your head, tell them to go away, and welcome the angels. Welcome the positive thoughts that say, yes, you can do it. Yes, you are wonderful. You are lovable. You are deserving of love, respect, and you can get all that. So I feel like this month is going to be a month of change, where you're going to emerge. Death can also be like a rebirth. You die to the old way of life. You die to your old pattern of behavior, and then you're reborn as a new person with a new outlook. So let's see what the angels have to say about all this. And don't live in your head. Try to connect with your heart. What do I really want? And how do I get there? Be more vulnerable. Open up. Allow someone to come in. Instead of assuming that everyone's against you, or assuming that you're not lovable and no one will want you, or you'll never have a successful relationship. We do that to ourselves. We have to stop it. We have to say, I am a divine being of light and love, and I deserve everything, just like everyone else. God does not create anything that is not lovable. Okay, what does the angels want to see? Invitation. Ooh. Let's see what the angels have to say. We, your guardian angels, ask you to invite us into your heart. Talk to us at any time. Share with us your fears and concerns, as well as your joys and pleasures. There is no need to be formal, for we have known you before the dawn of time. In fact, we know you better than you know yourself, and we love you just as you are. There you have it. Call on these angels, especially Michael. Michael is a wonderful angel to call on. He's one of my favorite angels. Call on Michael. Call on any angel that speaks to you. You can't, because they can't intervene in your life without your invitation. So once you ask for their assistance, you'll see a change and a shift. I know personally, because I've done it myself, and I've seen that. They help you. They really do. You're not alone in the world. You have divine protection and guidance, but you have to tap into that divine protection and guidance. It's like out there, but you have to go out and reach for it and ask for it. Okay, let's see what the astrology has to say. So you have this full moon in Leo. It's in your 7th house. So something is coming to a head in a relationship. It could be an ending for some people, where you realize, this relationship can't exist anymore. Or it could be a culmination in a positive way, where you realize how you feel about someone and you want to make a commitment, because Saturn is connected to this moon. Saturn is in the 1st house with your sun. It's not really a conjunction to the moon or the sun, because it's a wide orb, but it's still in Aquarius. Saturn is at the end of Aquarius. The moon is at 16 degrees Aquarius. It's a wide aspect, but just having Saturn in your 1st house, it's helping you to grow up, kind of. It's helping you to see reality in your relationships, and to look at them realistically and realize what you need to do. Saturn requires work and discipline and commitment. And you have to ask yourself, am I ready to do that? Am I ready to commit to another person? Am I ready to let someone else into my life, where I'm thinking about someone else's needs, not just my own? I mean, that's a commitment. That's something where you have to balance those energies. The needs of the many against the needs of the one, or the needs of the other. The 7th house and the 1st house is like me, my ego, my needs against opposed to the other, my partner's needs, my partner's views. So where do I have to compromise to make a relationship work? That's the key at this full moon. That's what you're going to see, because full moons bring things to the surface so you can see them more clearly. You have Uranus in the 4th house, so your home life is getting shaken up. You may wind up moving or needing to move. Either you're moving out or you're moving somebody moving in. There's a lot of commotion with Uranus. Maybe you need to be freed from something that relates to home and family. Uranus is a freedom planet. It wants to release you from anything that's holding you back, anything that's preventing you from being your true self, from living your best life. So if you've got Uranus and the North Node going through the 4th house, you may have some issues around home and family that you need to deal with. What is it that you need to release from childhood that's been stopping you from connecting with someone in a relationship? And because it's a T-square, that's an uncomfortable energy. So you may have to get out of your comfort zone and talk about those things that maybe you don't want to talk about. You want to bury them. Maybe it's too painful. I feel like, there could be some early childhood pain that you've been carrying your whole life that is preventing you from really bonding with someone else. And if you can work on that and deal with that and release it, it will really help you. You've got Mercury and Pluto here, even more. Mercury and Pluto are in the 12th house. That's the house of the that's a psychological house. It's the house of hospitals, prisons, institutions, like nursing homes. It's the house of hidden enemies. It's the house of the unconscious, like our blind spots, where we self-sabotage. It's the house of spirituality. So Pluto's been in your 12th house since 2008. You've been going through a psychological transformation since then. And Mercury, which is also, it relates to communication and the mind, our thinking. Mercury is in Capricorn now, so maybe it's time to talk about those things. Talk about psychological issues so that you can heal. Because the 12th house can offer healing if you reveal, like you have to bring that unconscious material up to the surface. Bring it from the unconscious to the conscious so you could see what the problem is, talk about it, release it. That's how you heal. Now, Pluto is sextile Venus in the 2nd house, Venus with Neptune. So you could have, with Venus in the 2nd house, that's a house where money's coming in. You have the potential to make money. Neptune, you could be doing something really creative. If you're doing any kind of creative project like art, music, dance, photography, you can make some money doing those things. But Venus sextile Pluto, you have the potential to connect with someone at a very deep psychological level. It's a very powerful connection, and you have to be careful with that power, because when Venus and Pluto get together, there could be control issues, power struggles, manipulation. So you want to make sure that you're not falling into that trap. You don't want to control someone else. You don't want to let someone else control you. But you can have a deep connection, a soul connection. Mars is in your 4th house, so there's a lot of activity going on at home. Maybe you're working on a house. You're trying to make it better. If you're not, or you could be fighting with the people around you when Mars is in the 4th house. Or the 5th house, I'm sorry. Mars in the 5th house. So Mars in the 5th house can bring romance. It's time for you to get out and do something creative. So if you've always had, the idea of doing something creative, but you never really followed it or did anything with it, now's the time to do it. Especially when you have Venus and Neptune coming together in the 2nd house. If you've ever wanted to paint, if you've ever wanted to draw, or sing, or perform music, or dance, or photography, now's the time to tap into that creative energy. And it could bring you some money. You're finally going to get some recognition, financial recognition, for the creative work that you can create, for the things that you create. Mars in the 5th group, because the 5th house is romance, children, creative self-expression, pleasure, sex. All these fun things. I call it the fun house. Mars has been retrograding in Gemini in your fun house. So it's telling you, if it's been all work and no play, it's time to drop that and start doing some things that are fun. Find the joy. Let the joy come back into your life. Because a lot of times, if you're working at a job and it's just not creative and it hasn't been fulfilling, you may decide to, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something that really speaks to my talents and my gifts. Jupiter's in your third house, and Mars is sextile Jupiter. You also have Chiron there. Third house can relate to siblings, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, your immediate family and friends. You have some healing to do with these relatives. So Chiron's there. Maybe there's some wounds around family and, parent, not only just parents, mother, father, but also siblings that you have to heal. And Jupiter being there, it gives you that opportunity to deal with those things, to communicate. Maybe you need to reach out to them and reconnect with them so that you can heal some of those childhood wounds. Uranus, okay, I already talked about Uranus in the fourth. Venus is squaring Mars. Venus in the second squaring Mars in the fifth. That's a very sexual connection. So you might be not really interested in a relationship, but more of a physical connection. So just be careful. Don't get in over your head. Don't lose your head on a passing passion. You want something, it may only be temporary. Mercury is sextile Neptune, so now is the time to really dream. You can make a dream reality. You're getting inspired thoughts when Mercury and Neptune connect. So you may just be channeling creativity. So I think this would be a good time, a really great time for all Aquarians to do something creative. Do something, and it doesn't have to be art. It could be wherever else you're creative. You could be creative in the kitchen, cooking, or you could be creative in your work, coming up with new ideas, innovative ideas. So take time to meditate and channel those ideas. Let them come flowing through you. You're really connecting to divine energy right now. You're like connecting to the unconscious, and you can use it to your benefit to come up with these brilliant ideas. So then we have this new moon in Pisces, and that's happening in your second house. Now the second house is the house of money and also self-worth. So you have a new beginning. Maybe you're starting to feel better. By this point, you're feeling better about yourself. Because I feel like money is going to be coming in. You're going to do something creative, and it's going to increase your income. Like, people are going to validate you. Like, yeah, you're really good at what you do. And that's going to help you to feel better. And it's going to help you to maybe even make a commitment to be a better person, because you have Saturn in the first house with Mercury. Maybe it's time for you to communicate. Maybe you have a message you want to give to the world. The new moon in the second can bring a new job or that increases your income in some way, or a new beginning where you feel you're getting paid what you're worth, or you're getting financial rewards. A new beginning in self-esteem, feeling like your values are changing. And I feel like it's connected to creativity, because this new moon is in Pisces, and Neptune rules Pisces. Neptune and Jupiter rule Pisces. And you've got them in both really great positions right now. You've got Neptune conjunct Venus in the second house with this new moon. So that spells creativity. That spells... The only time I would be careful is if you're not doing anything creative and you're signing a contract or you're dealing with money. You want to make sure you read the fine print, because there could be some misunderstandings around it. Or, don't just take things for granted. If you're investing in something or you're dealing with some financial situation, check all the, get someone to help you look at all the fine print. Don't commit to something unless you know exactly what you're getting into. Jupiter in the third, though, is you're getting your work out there. You're getting your, people are recognizing you. You're getting your message out. Venus is sextile Pluto. Venus is also, has been sextile Uranus. So it's an exciting time. There could be a lot of surprises around home, family. You have opportunities for love and romance, especially because when Mars goes in the fifth house, it can sometimes bring like an affair or some kind of romantic, but a very sexual connection. Like, it's not just, we're not just friends. I mean, Mars is sex. There's no way around it. If you're not having sex with Mars energy, then you're fighting. So when Mars is in your 5th house, it does increase your activity around creative projects, your activity around children, romance. I mean, if you're looking for love this month, now that Mars is moving direct, you can probably find it. And there could be some changes. You might decide to move, change your home. If you're not moving, you might be fixing it up in a way that makes it unique because Uranus is there. You want some freedom. Maybe you don't even want to own a home. Maybe you get a camper or something. You just need freedom from something right now that has to do with home and family and possibly even early childhood. So those are the issues you need to work on. But I feel that in terms of creativity, this new moon can really mean a lot. Anything that you're starting at this new moon has the potential to be really successful, but you have to take action because there's no really negative aspects to this new moon. It's all positive, and it could work out fine, but you have to take action to benefit from these positive energies because they're sextile. When we have these sextile aspects, you have to do something to manifest the energy. You can't just wait for it to drop in your lap. So if you're working on a goal, you're going to be achieving it. And you can also wind up through this activity, through the things that you're doing, not only you're going to be healing parts of yourself and feeling more confident. And I think that's always a plus. You're going to have wonderful ideas. So follow listen to your intuition. Follow those ideas. Don't think, oh, they're too far out, or don't worry about, communicate your ideas to the world because they're unique and they're creative and you're being inspired now more than ever. And that can only lead to good things. So that's my forecast, Aquarius. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, leave a comment. Let me know if this resonated with you. This is a general reading, so it may not apply to everyone. But if it applies, if you'd like a private reading where we just focus on you and your situation, click on the link in the description box and it'll take you to my website and we'll get you on the schedule. In the meantime, have a wonderful happy Valentine's Day, have a wonderful February, and I'll talk to you again next month. Okay, bye now.